All right, this is an unplanned video. Let's call it my first product review. I'm Dave, and welcome to my channel. What we're doing with this one is taking a quick look at a cheap, no-name web camera. So here we go. There's one thing I like about this camera right out of the box, and a whole lot I don't like. The camera is called HD 1080p web camera S1, if you look at the side panel, and we'll talk a little bit about this focus issue too. It's made in China. Is anyone surprised? Watch this clip and see the difference. This that you're seeing right now is with my Logitech C920. With a no-name web camera. Back to the 920. You see the difference? The motion is captured better by the S1. And not only that, as I'm recording, there is less visual lag between what I'm seeing in OBS and what's happening in the moment. I don't get a 1.5 second lag with the S1 that I do with the C920. The motion capture is really what I like most about it. I believe it has to do with the available frame rate, and now I'm starting to suspect I may have a problem with my C920 because the best available frame rate in the controls on the C920 at 1080p is 5. Really? At 720p, the best available frame rate is 10. But with the S1, the controls allow it to go all the way up to 60. Specs say that this web camera is up to 1080p at 30 FPS. But there's so much not to like. You probably picked up one of them right off the bat. Let's start with the controls on this camera. To be fair, the zoom control for the C920 does not work with OBS in Linux, and OBS overrides any settings that you make with the command line. But the S1 doesn't even show a zoom control, perhaps because, as the literature says, it's a fixed focus camera. And the focus is very poor. Calling it soft is generous in the extreme. And let me show you that once more. And the 920. And the sharpness control, though available, it cannot enhance the image, at least not enough to make any visible difference for me. So out of the box, the color has a strange green tint to it, and no amount of tinkering with the white balance temperature, the gain, the saturation contrast, the brightness, none of that could correct that tint. The controls with the Logitech at least allow you to get a viewable image. Physically, this camera comes with a short USB cable. There it is. Let's measure it real quick here. Yeah, it's right close to 3 foot long. And with a laptop, that's probably more than sufficient, but with my setup, I had to use an extender on it, and I happen to have a few of them, so that's no big deal. But if you're going to place this camera more than 3 feet from your USB port, you'll need the extender. And the idea of trying to use it with a laptop, well, most laptops have the camera built in, so I don't know. The base of the camera is made to provide some adjustment in the angle at which it points, and if used on top of your monitor, it can be adjusted to a certain extent by using the hinges on this base, for lack of a better word. And it can be used as a base, setting it on your desk, for example, like that. But these hinges are very loose. I think it's practically useless. It will fall over of its own weight, or the weight of the cable added to it in any case. And the supposed tripod mount, well, I sure couldn't find it. No tripod mount. The only way to put it on a tripod would be to find some way of clipping it to the tripod. And I suppose you could do that, but there's no tripod mount, though it says it has one. The camera comes in a fairly substantial box. Cardboard is much more substantial than many cameras that you'll see, and it is well protected inside the box. That's good. The documentation appears to be trilingual, and you see what I mean right there, I think, if you can focus on it. You see it's English and then 2 Asian languages, one above, one below, and that's carried throughout the literature. But it's very basic documentation, relies on pictures. And not quite sure what they're trying to say with the package, or with the paragraph about the software. 3, install the software. If you're using your webcam, the software required when you connect your webcam for the first time and installed silently in the background. They've got their English somewhat off there. I think they're trying to say that you plug in your webcam and all the software you need will be installed automatically. I think it's probably more accurate to say that the software that you need is simply the drivers that you already have with your operating system. And with Linux, that was there. Nothing additional was needed. Just plug it in and it worked. I'm sure the inspector did his job, and this camera meets the specs as they intended it to ship. But having used the C920 regularly for many months now, I find this one to be a very disappointing also-ran. And since it probably was purchased by my wife at a price comparable to what the C920 used to sell for, and still should be the asking price for it, well, bottom line, you'll be disappointed with the color, the lack of focus, the base. If you need a camera and you can live with the deficiencies in these essentials, well, it's better than nothing if it's all you can get your hands on. But really, though they will set you back more money, I think there are much better options available. Whether you'll actually find this one on the market now, I don't know. My wife bought it months ago, finally arrived. So whether this one's still being marketed, I don't know. But there you go. HD Pro Webcam S1. For me, I don't think I'd have bought it at $20. But that's me.